like so taking your security and compliance. I'm not sure there is much to say about what I said. If you need any information, you can easily say to my name on LinkedIn and you see everything will be there. And I know people like Paul, I've always been seeing Paul's updates from every angle now and then. So thanks everybody for being here. So if you are here last time, please identify yourself. If you are here in the last training, you attend the last training for security and compliance. Can you please identify yourself? Okay. John is here. Who else was here the last time? Who else was here? Only John.
No.
Interesting.
Sunday was here. Paul was here. Oliver was here. Michael was also here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Because I thought of just going back to the last curriculum we talked about, then taking the new one, because that is the foundation to all what we'll be talking about this week and next week. If you remember last time when we were talking, we deep dive so much talking about identity, how to protect our identity, things that used to be everything about identity protection was what we talked about last time. And I give some illustration there. Then we have our purview and our defender, which is Microsoft compliance and security center. So I give some illustrations to make it much more easier for that. Okay. In our houses, we have iron bars, that is burglary, um, both window, doors. We have our security man, commonly called gate man. We have gates. We have entrance door. What else do we have again? We have fence around our house. We have barbed wire. We have everything to make sure our house is what is secure. So that is the form of security. However, if we get everything done without a form of compliance, then all what we have done to secure our house will be in vain because nothing much will actually be done. Imagine having done all this, then when you are going out, you lock your gates, then maybe somewhere around your flower or around your fence, you kept your house key there. Somebody from far was watching you. You know, if that person should get hold of that key, despite all the security and everything you have in place, that person can easily have access into your house and take whatever they needed to take. So, which is where compliance comes in, which means everybody living in that house, everybody living in that vicinity, there are some rules or guidelines that you need to follow for all the security that have been put in place to do what to work. Paul, you want to say something?
Yes, please. From my end here, the screen is showing can't display presentation. There was a problem displaying this content. I don't know if it's a problem from our end or it's a general something.
Others, can you confirm, please?
Sorry?
I'm asking.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm
I
seeing
can see the
security
screen
and
here.
compliance screen.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
it's an issue
Maybe
from
your
my end. I'll
network.
just leave
Yeah,
and then try to
maybe.
join again.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, which was some of the explanation we gave about security and compliance then. So I said in our estates, for those of us that stay in estates, some of us that grew up in the village, we used to have vigilantes. We have people that secure the environment overnight. Despite that, we have vigilante outside. You see that at times within the house, something still do what gets missing. Something still gets missing within the house. So both compliance and security, they work hand in hand in hand. You see some organization, they have their firewall, they have everything that they needed to have, but yet their users are what they are armed. for especially for those that work with Microsoft and Microsoft Research support. You must have experienced some of these things I'm talking about, or those in an organization that are working as system and technical support. You must have witnessed some of these things I'm trying to discuss now. So all these, I'm just trying to give us a refresher of what we talked about last time. Then we went to Enter ID to show us talk about authentication and authorization, um, how to keep our things, our identity safe and others, our email, our SharePoint. In organization, there are some people you might not even meet till you leave the organization, but they know. There are some names that ring bells in your ears. So, oh, this name looks familiar. I don't know this face, but this name, because our name is what our identity, which is what we talk about so well. Then, um, then back now, we'll continue from where we stopped. Since we talked about the identity and compliance, what we need to do, things we need to put in place to get secured, then there are still other things that are needed to be done. So for these 4 classes that we'll be having, we'll be talking about 3 of them, then we'll take it one after the other. We might not have much um, hands-on to do because of the time that we have, because we have a lot to actually discuss about. So, but however, I will plead with us. Maybe I'll just come up with some assignments that we can do afternoon. So by the time we come here, we can just if we talk about some corrections about the assignment, then we can just proceed with whatever we need to whatever we need to do without having to go back to our class. So tonight, you can see on my screen, we have our security and compliance. But the form of security we want to talk about now is information protection. We've talked about identity. Now we want to talk about information protection. Some people even call it data security and data protection. Call it use any English or description. But however, I know most of us would have heard about this word before. So I would like us to put maybe in the chat, or you can unmute yourself what you actually understand by information protection or data security, data protection, whichever English you want to use, it's fine. But I just want us to, so we can start from known to unknown. We can start from what you know to what you don't know. So I'll be expecting everybody, what do you understand by information protection, data security? What do you understand? You can put it in layman language, you can put it in technical language, whichever one, it's fine. Samuel, you can go ahead.
Okay, so from my perspective, I would say that information relates to data that we have in an organization. It can be different forms of data. So let's say we have our emails, we have different forms of information in the organization. We have several forms of data in the organization. So if we want to protect those things, then it means that we are making sure that we are putting in measures to ensure that unauthorized people cannot access some information, or we are putting in measures to make sure that our organization is compliant to some standards.
Okay, that is actually fine. But I want you to redefine it again. Let's assume I'm your grandpa. I'm not IT savvy. Then you need to explain information protection to me. How are you going to put it, Samuel?
Oh, okay. So let me put it this way as well. I think I've gotten what you are saying too. So in the case that we are let's put it that we are home. We have our house documents. We have several documents in the house. Let's say someone just comes to the house and then asks my grandpa, okay, we need your house, like someone that does not introduce themselves or doesn't say anything, doesn't claim to know anyone or something, or someone that we don't know in the house comes, and then the person is like, oh, I need the house, this particular important document of your house, I'm taking it here, or I need this thing to go and do this, someone that we don't know. My grandpa cannot give that particular information, or a person just comes and then the person is requesting for information about a particular member of the family without no one knowing that person. You can't come and then the grandpa will be giving you that information. So that's something like grandpa is protecting the information of the family. Grandpa needs to know something about you or something before they can give out that information. So basically, that's how I'll put it.
Thank you. Thank you. You actually break it down. Sunday said keeping confidential details from getting to the wrong hands. Okay. Who else? Who else? Let's hear our opinions. Samuel, I've done a lot of justice to you, but I still want to hear from others. Others like an Zimi, John, Awa, Abolade, Michael. What else I can see here? I believe this is not our first time of hearing it. Alabi, Adeolu, Adeola. We have who else? Sayo, Emugene, Joseph, Ian, Mary Ngozi, Obiwi. We have to Samuel. Samuel there in there. I want to hear from you. Inventing data duties. Okay. Who else? Can't be the only one speaking now.
Good evening. No.
Hi.
From my own understanding, what information protection means, it can simply be put as, putting measures to protect the information you have in an organization. Before you can access those information, you need to undergo through some security measures before you can be able to access those information you have. Let's say in your house now, before someone can be able to come to your house, the person, you will need to open the door for the person to be able to enter. So that may serve as a security measure also, because you have to be the one to give the person the permission to enter your house before the person can be able to access your house. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, John. You actually tried, but most of what you were explaining, particularly was regarding identity. Because what you are saying now is somebody wants to have access to your house. Now, this person is already in your house. They want to check.
Okay.
They just want to go to your chef and pick some things. You get. So there must be
Yeah.
some measure, yes, in place
Yeah.
that
So
that's why you see that normally we should not be having living room, bedroom, sitting room, storage room. We should have just have one room for everything. But because we know the essence of protection and confidentiality, that's why you have to separate. Imagine taking a potty to kitchen to toilet. We all know you can't take a potty to a kitchen. Now imagine taking your pot to toilet. You just say, no, I just like this pot in the toilet. I want to use it to fan myself. It sounds somehow because a pot does not belong to the restroom. So there should be a form of protection, a form of guideline. This way this should be, this way that should be. So I actually appreciate everybody that comments, we're putting measures in place to safeguard sensitive or important documents. Yes, everything's actually right. Everybody that speaks, thank you, thank you. So that is just an introduction to what we want to talk about. So we have our, let me go to our table of contents. We have our table of content, and you see our table of content, you see that we have a lot to do. We have a lot to do. So we have done revision for the last. So we have done brief introduction on information protection. So we're talking about the need for data protection. Today, there's chances that we just speak a lot of gibberish. We might not open our administrator to do anything, but let's just speak all our grammar that we need to speak today so that tomorrow we have enough time to speak, to do answer and do anything we want to do. But today, just permit me to speak all our gibberish that we want to speak. And I will try as much as I can to relate it to what we know so that everybody will actually understand the concepts. The reason why you can't know everything at once, but if you know the concepts, even if you see it in exam, you know what to do. And you are working for an organization, you know what to do. I know the funniest thing, you see that AI have exposed a lot of us. Some of us, they will go to Google, they will tell you that I can't find this information on Google. And someone else will go to Google and get that information. Where did AI expose us? You see, some of us, you don't do the right prompt. So you even give AI to give us the right answer. We start writing a lot of rubbish, and AI will bring what things that are not even answers to what we are looking for. Most of us get frustrated. So the same thing with what you have here. If you know the concept, even if you have access to the internet, you know what you are looking for. You know what to do. Michael, you have something to say? Michael, your hand is up. Yes, yes, I can hear you. Still, yes, they are speaking far from your phone or your laptop.
I wanted to say something about information protection before.
You can go. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
That's okay.
Pardon?
So okay. You see that I can still go ahead. I want to see
Yes,
like
please.
before.
Yes, please.
Okay. So just like what others said, it's simply keeping the important information and data safe for it, being assessed, being safe, or even change and stolen. You're keeping them uh, from the wrong people, making sure that it's only the right people that are supposed to access it, that are supposed to make changes, you know, uh, like making sure that it's available to the right people, who can see it, who can change it. That's that people need to like, to making sure that it is only authorized to establish the data. Uh, also, things like choosing things like encryption, you know, firewall to protect the data. So we start talking about that. Going into IT now, protect the data from hackers and even malware. Yes, that's this for me.
Okay. Thank you. But the way you are putting it now, you are putting a lot of technical jargons. For people that have not even gotten to your level, you must have confused them. So that was the reason why I asked Samuel to explain it in a layman language that time so everybody can be on the same page. Thank you for that contribution. I really appreciate that. So let's continue. We still talk a lot about it, then because that is the foundation of everything that we want to discuss, everything. We even have information protection administrator. I think that is SC401. We have the certification for that. So we have I think security analyst, that is 200. I think SC300 is identity protection. So we have a lot of them. You see almost all what you are talking about. There is certification for every one of them, especially for those that want to go take the security part. So let's go straight to information protection. You can see information protection is actually in, let me say, in 6 or 7, but out of all of them, we are picking just these 3 because every other one are interwoven, or they are just extension of these 3 that we have here. So they are interwoven. So we just talk about these 3 for the course of this class, which is data classification, data loss prevention, and governance, information governance. So um to my own English now. So let me just put, as I said I'll be using words that every other person can actually understand. So information protection, as I said earlier, is also known as data protection, information security, data security. So it's just a practice and measure taken to safeguard sensitive information. You can see it's sensitive information. Not all information are sensitive, especially in this part of the world. We know we practice freedom of speech, though you, you have freedom of speech, but you might not get freedom after your speech. Which what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of information, and we even classify some as rumor. Rumor is a kind of information also. So we have different information. And you see, when we are growing, we tell our friend, I have authentic information, authentic, which means the information I have with me, I got it from a reliable source, reliable source. So practice and measures taken to do what? To safeguard sensitive information from unauthorized access, theft, or damage. Information can be what? Can be damaged. If you want to know that information can be damaged, just take your, maybe your master's, your BS certificate might not, you might not feel so much pain, but take your master's or your PhD certificate, go and laminate it and take it to the embassy. Then you can come back and tell us, the full story, what happened. So information can be what? Can be damaged. So how can we put it that everybody can understand what information protection is? This is very common to the females. Most females, they used to have one special diary that they write everything about them. Or am I the only one that have seen females like that? You see them, they used to have one diary that is safeguard with all their hearts, irrespective of what anybody is saying. They always keep that diary somewhere. I think we have some men also that do the same thing, that have that diary. You see them. I think there is a movie like that, Jennifer's Diary. I think sometimes ago I was watching a part. I was talking to the diary. I went to the market today, and this happened and that happened. You see that they put information about themselves in written format. Since it's written, the transcript, they write everything about their self down, and they do what? They keep it. You see some of them, even when they are dying, the only line they will text you that, okay, if you want to know the reason for my death, please, I have my diary in so and so locker. Once you go through the diary, you know the reason why I'm here. Some people died, then few years down the line, somebody gets hold of their diary and they got the information about their death or whereabouts or what actually did what occur. So I'm just using that diary as our information, a body that has all information about a person. So if you want to safeguard that diary now, there are a lot of things you have to put in place. Some people will put it inside their wardrobe. They put it inside a box, another box. inside another box, in a secret space, at the back of one cloth, inside their wardrobe, at the back of another space or chair. uh, you see that the way they will safeguard it, even when you see things like that, you know definitely there is something about this thing for this user to come and do what? To keep it here, to keep it here. So let me say again, let's assume a father that has prodigal children. You know, the way they safeguard their let's say their land, their house documents is, you will see that they keep it in a way. Some of them will even take it as far as to the roof of their house. They will make a provision somewhere that the children do not have access to it. So they will safeguard it. Have you seen houses that it was written, this house is not for sale, beware of my child? And who can we use now? Solomon. Beware of my child, Solomon. So, you know, fathers like that, they will do what? They will keep the document of that house in a place that nobody will have access to it. They know that once they get the original document of the house, those children can do what? They can do and undo. They can do and undo. So for that reason, they need to do what? Safeguard the the information. So I'm just giving us a background of what information protection is or what data protection is. If you remember, sometimes last year, our NIN information got to the public. I don't know if anybody see that information, and the information got into the wrongs and some other things like that. People were clamoring and shouting. So there are some information. I think there was sometimes back maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, some bankers were caught selling customers' data. That's why you see at times you receive information that your account will be blocked if we don't send PIN so and so number, which later we discover that some bankers are doing what? They are selling out those information to you. Those information might not look powerful, but if you fall into the wrong hands, a lot of things can actually happen. A lot of things can actually happen. So for us to be able to protect this information, that same information now have it in different way to go about it, which is where data classification comes about. You know, I told you the other time, we have series of information. Not all information are sensitive. Like now on the screen, I can see everybody's name. What will I do with your name? Nothing if I have the information. But let's assume you committed a crime. The first thing they will look for is what? Your name. Once they get your name, they can start tracing or looking for your pictures, checking your profile, your social media. But if they don't have your name, then for them to trace you will be what? Difficult. It will be what? It will be difficult. However, if you don't commit any crime, like where we have our meeting now, I'm just saying your name. Yes. Or what will I do with your name? Nothing. Yes, if I want to call you, maybe ask questions or I want to ask you something, I can do what? I can mention your name. Aside from that, your name has nothing to add to me at the moment. So, however, there are some information that, irrespective of the situation, they are always what? Sensitive information. As a friend used to say, you say that devil are tempting some people, but there are some people that they tempt the devil. Let me say it again. Devil do tempt some people, while some people they do what? They tempt the devil. So what am I trying to say? There's some 100,000. 10,000. Idris, can you mute, please? Thank you. So what am I saying? So just imagine you get Aliko Dangote, BBI number, ATM card, then the PIN. And you know, we are good citizens of Nigeria and we actually want to represent our country very well. How many of us on this call will not compromise that I feel that irrespective is that we could download now, will not compromise? How many of us? How many of us? You have Dangote's ATM card, you have the PIN, you have access to his BBN and NIN. Somebody can speak.
No, I'm just raising my hand as one of those who will not compromise.
You think so? You think so? Goma, I don't have big guys. Yes, I know you don't have big guys. That's why we just go and withdraw 10,000 first. Then by the time you check the account balance, you see like, you look again. What am I seeing here? 300 million in one account. Then tomorrow you go, let me withdraw 100,000. Next tomorrow you go, let me withdraw 200,000. So I read about an information on Twitter. So a guy was caught. They said the guy has embezzled 30 million from the fund in the country, in his company to play naira sporty bets. To play sporty bets, he has spent 30 million from the company fund to play sporting bets. And when they did the breakdown, the money was not removed at once. So some days we will remove 500 and play is it 2 or 3 days to call it. So that was how he keep doing it till it gets to 30 million naira. So what am I trying to say? If you have access to that information, you will know when they start withdrawing. Before you know, you have withdrawn 100 million naira from the 300 million you have in that account. So that's why I said there's some information, if gotten, the person might have pure motive, but at that moment, because of that sensitive information that gets to that person, now it's not the devil that will be tempting the person, it's the person that will be tempting the devil. You know, if devil is tempting you, that is when you'll be trying to get those information. Maybe try to please, where is that? Please mute your microphone. You know, probably the person break into his car or into his house, they steal those information from his house, steal his card, steal some other things, maybe accuracy, then the devil is tempting you. But now you are in your house, you are in your house, everything just came to meet you in your house. Probably you are passing by, you just saw a wallet on the floor and you saw all those information in it. You will see how you will be tempting the devil at that stage. Oh, somebody said I will confirm whether it's real by pressing a withdrawal of 10 million naira. If it's real, then I will just refund. Oh, Angel Michael. Okay. So I'm just putting it in a practical terms so that all of us can understand what we are about to talk about. Because all these ones we are talking about now, they are conventional ones which we understand. But the ones we'll be talking about, they are what digital ones. So data classification, as I said, so your name, your date of birth, let me see again, your marital status, your country of birth, and other information like that. You can see that though there are some times that those information awards are very sensitive, but not in all instances. But however, your NIN, that is your national identity number for those that are not Nigerians, then your BVN, bank verification code number, which is BVN, let me say again, your credit card or your debit card, and your PIN. You know, at any given point, those ones that are what sensitive informations. Those ones are sensitive information. So let's now relate it to company. I work with a telecom company, and based on the rule that is governing telecom in Nigeria, you are not allowed. I think banks also, they are not allowed to put their customers' information in the cloud, which means we can't host our server that has users' information, maybe in Azure, AWS, or Google, or anywhere. We have to have this information there on premise, that is within the organization, will be the one managing that server that has our customers' information. However, we as staff of the company, we can decide to use any application that we want to use and put staff information in cloud, but customers information, no. You have to put it on prem, because if it gets to the wrong people and either within or outside the country, a lot of harm can what happen to those customers. So what am I trying to explain? I'm just trying to explain data what classifications. I'm trying to explain data classification. There are some that are very sensitive, while some they are just normal data, though they still need to be protected. But however, they are what they are still normal data. They are normal data. So the next one that we want to talk about is how should I put it now? Hmm. Or should I just still put it in layman language? Then before we continue to data loss prevention, I just want to introduce the three of them. Then before we now start talking about them. So data classification, let me see it. It's like labeling files in cabinets. Okay, you have files in cabinets for those that have been to government sectors very well. You know, they used to have all the secretaries that keep a lot of files, either needed or not needed. Some to us, those files is what they are not needed. Meanwhile, you see some people when it's time for promotion or time during retirement, they need to get their money, they need to do some documentation. You ask them, okay, go to so room and look for your file. By the time you get to that room, you'll be expecting one small room. By the time you open it, you see that it's a big hall full of what files. Then you now start checking years, from years to your sector to other things. Then you'll be looking what for those information, or those that have been to library before. You go to library, you see that they have catalog of how they arrange their books. If you want science related book, you first go to science. When you get to science, then you now look, okay, I need physics textbook. Where would I get physics textbook? You see, you get to the last that relates to you. So that is a form of file. So you categorize those file and documents based on what their importance and their what sensitivity. Their importance and their sensitivity. You know, if somebody is a cleaner in a company and that person has emails and the MD of the company has email, definitely we know that the email of the MD has more power, let's use power, or more access than what the cleaner's email. But there are some information that the cleaner can get at that moment that will make that cleaner's email even more powerful than the MD's email. Imagine the cleaner gets to know that the MD killed somebody in the building and he has the video. Then the cleaner now sent an email with that video to the board of directors. You know, at that moment, the cleaner's email address, they will do what? Protect it by all costs. Because if they don't protect it, that information can do what? Get lost. So somebody is laughing. So I'm just trying to let us know the importance of data classifications, data classification. So how to classify those data, what to do, and all that. So which is why I'm talking about. Another real example of data classification is let me say, let's assume you are working on a project with a team and you have documents in different level that you need to keep. Let's put it in three ways, like public documents for those that have been part of any project before. You know, public documents like project brochure. If you go to construction sites, you will see there is an image that is always posted outside that construction site. Though they are still in foundation doing some piling, but they put a prototype of what they are expecting to do, to do. That is the outcome of what they're actually doing on that construction type. So all those information like that, they are what public documents, which is where brochure comes, marketing materials, flyers that we share to people. Let me say again, press release. There are a lot of things the government have promised us. They said we do this, do that, do that. No, they've not done it. So all those ones are what public documentation when you are running a project. So those public documentation, they can put it in a shelf where anybody can easily see that. If you go to most of the company at the entrance, that is the front desk, you see some flyers, maybe hospital, telecoms, a lot of companies, we see flyers about the company. Those ones are what public documents. Public documents. Everybody can do what? Have access to that. Everybody can have access to it. So the second one is internal documents. Internal document. There are some documents within the organization. I think 2 years ago, some set of people were dragging some banks. Why? Because some information leaked out. That should be an internal document, but however, it's leaked out of the bank through some of the staff, and they hold it as evidence to sue the bank to court. So there are internal documents. Let's also say like meeting notes, project plans, teams updates, and some information that is shared within the company. So I'm just trying to put it in 3 ways. Though Microsoft did not put it like that, I'm just putting it in a way we will do what we will understand. Then we have the confidential document. We said there's public documents, internal documents. Now, the confidential documents, which is the sensitive what information like the financial reports, customers' data, as I mentioned earlier, sensitive project information, things that only team members, not even all team members, there are some specific team members that should do what? Have access to it, that should have access to it. As I said earlier, some of us are tempting them. Some of us don't even know inherent in us. There's something we can do until we are given access to some places. Then that's when you know what you are capable of of doing. We keep saying that our leaders are bad. Meanwhile, it is we, the followers, that become leaders, which means both the followers and leaders are what? Are bad. That is on a lighter mode. That is on a lighter mode. So that is that about data classification. Then let's go to data loss prevention. Data loss prevention, we call it DLP in Microsoft. We call it DLP. So this one, since we are not talking about it now, I'll just paraphrase. So it's just security system that help prevent sensitive information from being shared or leaked accidentally or intentionally. Now you have classified your data. These ones, they are sensitive. Then there must be something that must be put in place so that those sensitive information cannot be what shared outside, either knowingly or unknowingly. We have it that more than 90% of cyber attacks are caused by human error. More than 90% are caused by human error. I said it from the start that if you put all the security in place and people refuse to comply with instructions or rules or guidelines, then those security, they are of no use because people can easily do what? Breach into that security, So what am I trying to say? After we have classified our data, okay, how should I put it? How should I put it that we get it? There are some places in the house. Once you start going close to that place, you see your parents asking you, what are you looking for? What do you want? Or if you go to your friend's house, probably you just went to pass the night. There are some places in the room. Once you start moving towards that area, your friend will start questioning you that what do you want? What are you doing? What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Because he has sensitive information in that place and he has put some things in place to do what? To guide it, to guide those things, which is where data loss prevention comes in. Data loss prevention comes in, DLP. And the last part, which is information governance. Now we have our data within our organization. We don't want we want to retain this data maybe for some particular period of time, or we want to keep it permanently with us. You see some organization, they keep upgrading their servers. Like a lot of banks, we have how should I put it now? Most of the banks we have microfinance bank, they are not commercial bank. So if a regional bank wants to become a commercial bank, they might need to upgrade most of their servers because they'll be expecting more customers as they are opening more branches, which means what they have at that moment will not be enough, which is where information governance comes comes in, where information governance comes in. So that is just brief introduction about what we want to dive into for the next 2 weeks. That is this weekend and next weekend. Any question before we proceed? Any question before we proceed? Any question before we proceed? So you can see that what I just explained is what you have in this image. Understanding information protection. You can see know your data, understanding your data landscape, identify important data across hybrid environments, which is the first part of it. So, and that first part is the foundational step for every organization to understand what data they have and where it resides before they can do what? Protect it. So you have to know your data. You have to know your data first. Then, before doing what? Protect your data, which is what I said earlier. That is where DLP and others, they come in. Protect your what? Data. Apply flexible protection action, including encryption, access restriction. I think we've talked, there is chances that we must have talked about JIT and other form of encryption, restriction, when we are talking in exchange, PowerPoint, permission, enter ID, and others, when we are talking about those things, you see that the reason why security and compliance came in is all these things that I know without any form of security, then it's as good as knowing nothing. Even for every interview that you do, they always ask you the security part of whatever you do, what you think you know. Okay, they'll be giving you a scenario that, okay, you fall in this situation, what is expected of you. There are some companies that they even give you refresher courses almost every month and or 2 months to do on cyber security. Where I work now, we do refresher courses almost every 3 months on refresher courses on cyber security. They do phishing attack and others. So users will be aware of all those things. So the next one is to prevent data loss. You see, focus on detecting and stopping risk or unauthorized sharing. You can see it detects, stop risk from unauthorized sharing. So, which include data loss. Now we have insider risk, and which one you have again? Adaptive protection based on user risk level. Yes. Then the last part, which is govern your data, which is covers retention, deletion, archiving, compliance policy, how data is managed, data lifecycle, and other things like that, which is what make up the information protection framework. Now that I said it from the beginning, once you get the concept of how it works, then you will know what to do at every given time. You will know what to do at every given time. So, which is that on understanding data protection. So let's continue. If you have any question at any given time, you can raise your hand or you can drop a message in the chat box, then we pick it up from there. So before we go to the next thing, from what I have said so far, I want everybody to contribute now in your own English. in your own English, what is information protection? If you want to speak, you can unmute, you can drop it via chat. In your own terms now, what is information protection? In your own terms. If you use Google, I will know. If you use AI, I will know. In your own terms, you can even go to AI and ask AI, in your own terms, what's information protection? I will still know. Samuel, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So let me put it this way as well. So in my own understanding, protection involves protecting information. Yeah, let's say protecting whether in an organization or in a business, it can be protecting information from unauthorized access and any other things that makes the information non.
Samuel, you
Yeah.
are
So
still speaking up. We lost you for a
hello.
moment. We lost you for
Hello.
a moment. Yes, we can hear you now.
Please, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I'm talking about information protection as keeping, like, protecting information used in an organization or a business from unauthorized access.
Okay. 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 Let's hear from others. Let's hear from others.
Good evening.
John, you can speak.
All right. Um, from my own understanding, I can simply put it that information protection is the first step to it is you have to know your data first. You have to classify them to know the level of security measures you have to put in place for each of the information you have. Then after classifying the informations you have, different levels of information you have, you have to prevent those information from leaking or from falling into the wrong hands. Then after that, you have to manage the whole information you have. That's the information governance. You have to manage all your informations. I think that's the way I understand it now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Solomon.
Yeah. Yes. Good evening, sir. Good evening. So, for my own knowledge, information protection is like protecting your data from unauthorized user by giving access to anybody that you wanted to have access to your data. So, I think that's my own brief knowledge about protection information.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Solomon, you still want to say something? Who is this other person? I don't know if this is your name, but
Yes.
oh, Solomon, you can go ahead then. While the other person
Okay.
will go after you.
From my hand, I would say information protection is an art of safeguarding information or probably resources or okay, from unauthorized users or unauthorized ends. Let me just call it confidentiality. Like you are not, you are actually protecting certain information so that it will not fall into the bad guys, to the hands of bad guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Then the next person, not sure, please your name or something. Channel. We have UXNW. If this person is from Chinese or Japanese or Korea. You can speak if you are that person. Okay.
Good
So
evening.
okay, you can go ahead. Good evening. Can hear you.
So, my idea of information protection is about protecting
sensitive industry information or probably a corporate entity's information, including identities, data, and everything that is valuable to that corporation, keeping it safe, making it inaccessible to unauthorized access, and then ensuring that the productivity and functionality of that entity continues. That's the way I understand it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But you not tell us your name.
My name is Abiodun Kaunishi.
Oh, I understand why you are disguising now.
I'm not disguising. It is well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you, everybody. The question is just for me to know that everybody's been carried along, not that I'm just speaking gibberish, we are not. Because if you don't understand some of this gibberish, once you start, I will start hands on. There are some people that will start bringing us back, asking some questions. A lot of things that I've said now, I know a lot of us cannot process it now, but by tomorrow, I know I'll be getting some question because of some people are still processing it, trying to understand what we are saying. That's why I'm relating it to a real life scenario so we can get it. Um, so the next part of it now, we've done the introduction, which has given us foundation of what we want to do. At the end of this class, that is next week Sunday, I will give us the entire slide and go through everything. But I'm sure we can't talk about everything we have on this slide. We can't talk about everything. That's why I'm very intentional about the foundation, knowing the concept that even without anybody, you can always do the research yourself and to get any information you needed. And don't forget, we still have our group even after this section to ask your question or if you need anything. If you need anything, you can always do it. Ask. So, why do we need data protection? Why do we need data protection? You can see we have the definition there. Data is one of an organization's most valuable assets, but it's constantly at risk. In short, data is what differentiates one organization to the other. Is data. Is data. Where we are today is due to the information that we have access to. For your level to transform, just get access to the right information and you see that you are not actually lazy. It's because you don't have access to some information. I know there are some of us we have access for years to Microsoft 365 Admin Center, but most of what we have been taught so far in this program, we don't even know they actually exist. Before I work in one organization, when anybody tell me about Microsoft 365, so I used to think, what is Microsoft 365? What is it called? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access. I even know how to use Access for database very well. Access, which other one again? I thought that was all to Microsoft. And I went for interview, the way we speak our gibberish. Then it was entrance level, and I started getting to see a lot of things. Look at it, look at it, Azure it. I was seeing a lot of things. You get to a point because what I know that was IT normally then is networking and hardware. Now our computer village way. If your printer gets spoiled, let me help you with it. If you have hardware related issue, let me help you with it. If you have network issue, let's put our switch together, our router and everything. But when I get to this organization now I have to do all that, then create user in local AD, sync the user to cloud, maybe. And I'll be wondering that, okay, how do Microsoft get their money? Especially in Nigeria, I know some of us till now we still have pirated office application on our laptop. pirated office application on our laptop, even as you are saying at this moment. So before now, I keep asking, how do Microsoft do what? Get their money? Because I believe in Nigeria, we have Microsoft applications without paying for it. So how do they get every time they say Microsoft is one of the richest company in the world? How? So what am I trying to explain is because at that level, the information I was exposed to, that was what limits the way I think. If I have been exposed to all this information I know now, I would have known how Microsoft do what make their money. As a matter of fact, the reason why we are in this program is what because of valuable what informations. You can't do any hands-on or any practical work or change of level without having access to different information to compare to what you have or what you have been hearing before. So what differentiates every organization is what their set of what data that differentiates them. If you go to hospital now, the kind of data they will be asking from you is different from the kind of data bank cannot start asking you that, okay, oh, come and do your sugar level or BP and others. You'll be wondering, only if the targets maybe bank outreach. But inside bank, you want to withdraw money, they now ask you that you need to do your BP. If your BP is not okay, you can't withdraw. It sounds somehow. But if you go to the hospital, that is the first set of things. They call it vitals. That is the first set of things they will do to you. So it's the set of information that each organization has that even make them organization in the what in the first place. If you have all what you needed and there is no data to work with, then that organization cannot do what cannot strive. So data security risk, external threats. External threats is where cyber attack comes. Some of us we used to think Yahoo boys is all what you have to cyber attack. There is a lot to cyber attack that we can actually think, from as simple as your WhatsApp is. I'm still saying it that some of us on Discord, despite we are calling ourselves IT personnel, we don't have two-factor for our WhatsApp. If somebody should have access to your WhatsApp and you send the code to that person that is sent to your phone number, the person will get access to your WhatsApp directly. So there are a lot of cyber attacks. I think there was one time somebody was saying that his LinkedIn page was is it blocked? The LinkedIn page was blocked because someone else did what? Sign in, hijack that LinkedIn page. That is after explaining to that person that you need to set two-factor authentication. He said, no, I can't start putting code on my phone. I can't start. And when that account was hacked and blocked, the person learned the hard way. There are two ways to learn. Either you learn through instruction or through destruction. So you can decide to choose. I think that person choose destruction anyway. So the external threat is from cyber attack, ransomware, data breaches. The last class we talk about all this, which I'll not be going back to it again. So the next one is insider risk, accidental data exposure, malicious insider. Accidental data exposure, malicious insider. You just call your friend. Hello, Samuel. Oh, you are having issue with your laptop, right? Okay, let me share my screen with you so I can explain what you want to do. While you are explaining to Samuel, you have exposed a lot of confidential information about your company to what? To Samuel. I think yesterday I was telling a friend that anytime she wants to post on LinkedIn, she should stop snapping her official laptop. You are snapping your official workspace, your official laptop at your place of work. It might not even be your own information. Probably when you snap that picture captured somebody else's screen, and that person has sensitive information open at that moment. So you can get the company or that person into trouble. You can get that person into trouble. So I just explained to her, stop snap. If there is need for you to snap, you have your own personal laptop. You can do what? You can do that with your personal laptop. So accidental data exposure, not that you intend to do it, but accidentally. You know, a lot of us, they've told us, I think last year, when they said federal government said you start spending money, and there's this message that was flying around on WhatsApp that if you click on this link, you'll be able to register and get this money. And a lot of people fall victim of it. Their phone, their emails, a lot of things were hacked, and people did what? Get their information. So it's not something that people intentionally do, but what? Accidentally. And malicious insider, your identity is already compromised. The person is what's inside your the person is already posting like what is this English now? Impersonating. The person is already impersonating. So he already has access to that person identity. Now we want to pretend as if it's that person to get access to some other information in the what in the organization. So malicious insider risk, compliance challenge, increasing regulatory requirements for data protection. So Nigeria, every other country, they keep reviewing it. I think recently there is one file that is put on, is it on Paystack? I think 200 billion naira on Paystack. So there are a lot of regulatory data protections that are coming in. So bank file, if you go to bank, then you know that there is a lot of file that they pay now and then. So we have the AI security risk also. You know, there's some information, especially those of us that we are using free ChatGPT. You just copy something from your email. Bra, ChatGPT, help me to rephrase this email, add this information, move this information in. Meanwhile, it is somebody that designed ChatGPT. This information is used to train this AI. This information, don't get deceived. This information are being stored somewhere. Don't get deceived. If the information are not stored, then how is the AI being trained based on the information or based on the prompts that you have been giving that AI? Now, you already copy everything and put there. Help me to reply to this email to our MD that will not be available tomorrow. Make the email professional. Remove typographical error. Add some grammar. You know, when you see some people prompt to AI, then you will know you will know that there are a lot of things that we need to work on. So there should be protection around AI also, especially if you are using API, integrating APIs with your internal applications. So there should be some form of security that should be put in place. See, you can see the last part of this. The organization must take a proactive approach to protect, classify, and govern their data to reduce what risk, which is the need for data protection. The need for data protection. So the next part of it, challenge of managing sensitive data. You know that we said that for us to be able to do anything, the first thing we need to do is to classify our data. So there are challenges around it. See, modern organization operates in complex digital environment. Protecting sensitive data require addressing several challenges. You can see the first one, data is everywhere. Everywhere. Most of us that we are here now, if you go to LinkedIn, there is an option that LinkedIn used to ask you that anybody everywhere should be able to search you. If you go to Google and search your name, if your name is a very unique name, you see that it will refer you to what LinkedIn. Everybody can easily see you there. There was one time on Twitter, somebody post one abusive post on Twitter, and I know there were some challenges, and they were trying to get that person. They were able to get that person's name, and they traced that person down to LinkedIn. So from LinkedIn, they got his pictures, got where he work. People started sending email to his organization and others. The organization have to sack that person. So a lot of data everywhere. So emails, cloud storage, AI tools, endpoints, a lot of, so it's making it difficult to do what? To manage sensitive data. It's making it very, very difficult to manage sensitive data. Users collaborate across multiple platforms. We can see when we are talking about SharePoint, Teams, we have talked about a lot of sharing access to or adding guest user, adding external users to our SharePoint, to collaborate with them, to Teams. So to manage sensitive data, all those things are making sensitive data more complex. Before now, if you have a contractor that needs to work with you or to do anything with you, you see that for those that have been in IT for like maybe 10, 15 years, you see those people have to come to your office physically. They need to be present on site. They lodge them maybe in an hotel. You see them. So with that, it is easier for you to do what? To protect your data. But now, most of the consultants, they are not, even some of us, we are working with organizations that are not Nigeria, not even in Africa, and we work with them. So all these things are making it more difficult for sensitive data to be protected. You can see security versus usability. It must be available for users to use irrespective. So the security now is now left to what? To you, but it must be available to users. If it's not available, then there is no use for that data. Any information that is not available to the user, then there's no need for it. So the last part is lack of visibility. Organizations struggle to track where sensitive data reside and how it is used. If you are system admin, cloud infrastructure admin, I think technical support, you understand this pain we are talking about. You understand these pains that we are talking about. There is a lot of struggles, The organization, they will be on your neck that, and this person wants to access this data, they need to send it, they are unable to access it. That same organization, they told you that this data must not link out, you must protect it by all costs. So people must do what? Have access to it and in a secure what? Manner. So these are the challenges of managing sensitive data. So we'll be going into data classification proper for the next few minutes we have left. So once we talk about data classification, then tomorrow we'll start with the hands-on on how to classify our data from the Microsoft 365 Purview Center. We'll see the kind of sensitive data we have, how to classify them. I might not create it for you. I will just show you, which I will expect everybody to go back to their drawing table, drawing desk, or whichever you want to call it, your workspace, and do what? And carry it out at your own convenience. You carry out those things. Then next week, Saturday, we do what? We eat on from there. We eat on from there. So as I said earlier, we'll be talking about data classification, data loss prevention, and information governance. So now we're starting about data classification. Data classification. So if you have any question about what we've discussed so far, then before we proceed, as I said earlier, today will be a lot of gibberish, just English. So it's more like definition of terms, understanding the concept, then before we now start the proper words, the proper work. So any question then before we proceed? Any question? Any question? Any question? Should I ask my own question?
Yeah, I think you should ask. For me, I think I'm okay with what you've explained, but I don't know if any other person has a question.
Any question? No. Okay. Let me see the simplest form of question I can ask. I should, yes, I should ask all my questions. He said I should ask all my questions. Okay. Um. Okay. So, what is the first thing to do when you are trying to protect information or in data security, information security, data? What is the first thing that we need to do? The first thing that we need to do. The first thing, talk about it when we are talking about understanding information protection framework. The first thing we need to do, the first thing we need to do, Samuel said data identification, partially, but that's, yes, Adiola got it. Know your data. Is when you know it that you can identify it. Know your data. When you know your data, you can now classify it. You know, this is this, this is that. Then you someone wants to be using technical terms for us. We don't want technical terms. Use layman English. I said it the other time. There are some of us that we are new to IT here. We are just upgrading. Now I want to start using technical terms that will get us more confused in addition to what the instructor have said already. So know your data. So which part of the information protection framework do DLP belongs to? Which part of the information protection framework DLP belongs to? Are we still together? Which part of the information protection framework DLP belongs to? Ding. Classwork. Example is simple. Classwork is not hard. We still have it. I said, which part of the information protection framework DLP belongs to? Data loss prevention belongs to.
Information protection framework.
It's under
Yes.
prevention of data.
Yes, under prevention of data, there are some things that was explained there. Is that explanation that I needed? I just used that English to make it look rigid. There are some things we explained there under that to prevent data loss. What do you explain under DLP? We explained something under DLP. Should we go back? It's just this night we've forgotten. Just this night.
Making sure that the information does not fall in the long hands, as in preventing the information from leaking.
Okay, let me go back there. Can you see what is there now? He said, I think it is the cybersecurity framework because I would say that. Yeah, but this is not everything. This is not everything. This is just under information protection. If you were here last time, we talked about identity protection, how to protect our identity. So let's continue. I believe nobody knows it. I was thinking if somebody gets it, I will just give that person access to my tenant. I will make you global admin. You can do and undo to reproduce issues, but nobody gets it right. So let's continue. Maybe during the class, if somebody gets it, any question right, Yeah, we can proceed. But for now, I think Samuel and Lou and John, how should they put it in Nigerian language? They are entering my eyes. I think they've been contributing so far. So let's continue. So data classification. So data classification, it involves categorizing data based on its what? Sensitivity and importance. You can see that the same thing that we have been talking about is what we still have here again. So to ensure appropriate protection measures and what are applied. If you are working, let me say, you are not in IT, maybe in customer care, you are in customer care, or let me say sales. Let me assume you are in sales. If your email gets compromised and your MD email gets compromised, who do you think they will attend to first? Definitely everybody will do what? Attend to the MD first before coming to you, because they know that um if they get hold of the MD emails, a lot of harm can be done than the what sales members email. So what am I trying to say? Categorize data based on its what sensitivity. You know, I said it the other time, we can have our biodata. Most times, not always, our biodata is actually important to people when they are not even a celebrity, or, or your name is in 4B. So, but however, our financial information is always a sensitive data that needs to be protected, that needs to be protected. So that is introduction about the data classification. Now you should understand data classification and protection. So now we are bringing it completely back to Microsoft, not a random kind of discussion again. We are bringing it back directly to the core view to, to do Microsoft things now. So to protect data effectively in an organization, first, know your data. You can see know your what data and how sensitive that data is and how sensitive that data is. So the first thing we have is data classification. Identify, categorize sensitive information using sensitive information type and trainable classifier. If you have access to your admin center, I won't open my own admin center yet. As I said, I don't want to complicate anything. I just want to speak gibberish today, then tomorrow. You can open your admin center as you are going and go to purview. Then you can see, once you open your purview, you see data, what is it called? Data classification. You will see it at the top. If you open your purview for the first time, data classification. Under data classification, you will see this information, SIT, sensitive information type, and trainable classifier. So I want you to play around it. It is called test tenants for a reason. It's not a production environment. So far, what you are doing will not affect somebody else. But if that tenant belongs to you, I always advise that you have two global admin. You have two global admin. You have one global admin at one side, then the other global admin at the other side. In case you lock yourself out while trying to reproduce issues, I think 3 years ago, is it 3 or 4 years now? I have one tenant that I lost access to that tenant completely. See, today, I don't have access to that tenant. I forgot what I was reproducing. I was just running some PowerShell script, blah blah blah. And the next thing, I the I tried to sign in, told me that that account does not exist. See, today the account does not exist. That was how I lost that. That was how I lost that tenant. So you should have two global admin. while that is if that tenant belongs to you. But if it's our tenants that we are using, then just make sure that anything you are doing will not affect the other person. And if you are creating anything, always put your name. So if you put your name, if I get there, I want to reproduce my own. Once I see your name, I won't have reason to do what? To delete what you have done. And also, I will always encourage to do a documentation of those things, put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your TikTok, on your social media so far. Let people know where and what you are doing. So in case in the future you might forget something, but you know that I have done documentation on this before, you can go back to it and make reference to it. If you think that there's no need of me posting it online, don't worry until the day your laptop crashes and that your drive is gone, you don't have access to all those data again, then you understand the power of putting your documentations on cloud. So you can go to your purview, then play around the SIT and trainable what classifier. So we have the sensitive labels, classify, protect data by applying policy that define how it should be handled. Please, as I said, you can open it now if you have your system. Just be playing around it as you are talking about it one after the other. This will help you tomorrow. This will help you tomorrow once you start doing one or two things. As I said, I might not have enough time to do some hands-on so that you can get all information needed on every part of what you want to talk about because data classification and DLP, they are very wide than you think. They are very, very wide than we think. In short, there are some people that is their specialization, data security and compliance. Finish. That's what they do. Now, imagine we are adding everything with all what you have been taught so far. So this next part of this encryption, I know we've done a lot of encryption during exchange. We might not talk much about it again. Or our instructor did not talk about encryption in exchange. I'm sure. I'm very sure that our instructor would have talked about it. But you can still go around it again just to show us some few form of way to encrypt our data as files. Because while we are talking about exchange, probably our instructor might limit it to emails only. However, we still have our SharePoints, we have other parts of the technology that need to be what to be protected and encrypt some information when we are sending them out. So the last part of it is say data loss prevention. Data loss prevention, then retention, which is where the governance came in, information governance, prevent data leak and ensuring important data is preserved based on business and compliance requirements. You can go there, do and undo. Don't forget, use your name while we are doing those things. So we'll just try to rush through some of the things we have here. Let me see what else we have here. So data classification in purview. As I said earlier, we have SIT, detect structured patterns like credit card numbers, SSN, and keywords. If you set up all this information, if you write credit card details, SSS numbers, and some keyword that you yourself, that is where the trainable classifier comes in. Trainable classifier comes in. You know, the credit number, card number that we have in the US is totally different from the way we have it in Nigeria. So you can put our credit card number, which is our ATM, our debit card, in Nigeria and send it, it might fly. But however, we have our trainable classifier, which is like our AI, the prompts that we are putting in the AI is training that AI to know how to respond to what some information. So the same thing with what we have here. So if the information we needed or we want to protect, that is the sensitive information we want to protect, It's not part of the available option that Microsoft have given us, then we can do what? We can go for a trainable what? Classifier. So the trainable classifier can now do the work for us, can do the work for us. Don't worry, we'll do some hands-on around some of these things. You can see AI-based classification that identifies content based on meaning, context, learning from example, contracts, HR reports, legal documents. Once you put HR reports and you want to send it to external email, you first see a prompt that will show you that you are sending this confidential email to what? To external user. And by the time you try to send it, based on the protection you have in your organization, that email might not what? Fly. You send the email. There are some that you even send the email will leave your mailbox. Meanwhile, it won't leave the organization. It won't go to the internet, not to talk of getting delivered to that person that you are doing what? Sending those information to. It might even be a PDF file or a Microsoft Word documentation that you are trying to send out. I don't know if some of us have gotten some books online. If you get those books online, you see that there are some books that are so protected that you can't even copy it. If you try to highlight it, you can't highlight them to copy them. They are so protected. And if you try to send it, you can't send those documents also. They only come directly to your mailbox, and only you that your email address is registered to where they send you. You are the only one that can actually have access to that document. If you download it locally on a PC, it won't display. You have to display it with your mail, your email address. So there are a lot of protections around documents and outside some email, which most time we always think that protection is always around email alone. No, it's far more beyond that. So the next one that we have here is classifying data using sensitive information types. You can see why use SIT, detect structural data consistency across Microsoft 365 using built-in or custom rules. You can see it. Now I mentioned this. There are some available rules that Microsoft actually put there, but most of them they do suit where they have large percentage of their customers, which is in the US and in the UK. So most of them is not what suits us in Nigeria. So we just have to train to make use of some of the trainable classifier for it to be appropriate or to work for what we actually needed here. For what we actually needed, yes. Support labeling and protection, identifying structured pattern in data. In some people that are used to Microsoft very well, there are some patterns of email. If that email comes in one, the next one will not come in. It will tell you that it detects some strange pattern of what of that email. It will do what? It will blacklist that sender or that IP address that is sending that information. Is either it's move it to quarantine or it gets delivered to the user's junk folder, but it's not go directly to the user's mailbox. And it supports compliance need. As I said again and again, the reason why a lot of data was read is human error. So there must be a technology that we put in place. They said when I've forgotten the adage now, but it's saying that when people are given freedom without a set of rules, there's chances that they will actually misuse that freedom. So we human by default we like freedom, and because of that freedom that we like, we can do and what undo. So there must be rules that governs us for us to be what compliance. That's why you see we have police, military, and others. Else, you would have seen people walking on the streets with arms and killing others and go freely. But so in IT also, there must be things that is forcing you It's not that you wish to do it, but you don't have choice. Either you want it or not. As far as you need to carry out your job, you need to do what? Follow that regulatory requirements. Else, a lot of things would have done what? Would have gone wrong. So where are SIT used? Information protection, DLP, data lifecycle management. You can see that all what I have said earlier is what we are just rephrasing here again. So the next one that we have, let me see. Wow, interesting. So the next one we have here is classify data using trainable classifier. You can see trainable classifier identify categorize data that can be classified with keywords or pattern matching. Keywords, um, let me say organization, HR, marketing, patterns. Um, how should I put patterns down? You know, every dubious email, they are always in hurry. So there's a pattern in which those emails comes in. So things that are not within that um, jurisdiction now. And as I said earlier, when Microsoft is giving the random what is it called, classifiers and others, it's based on where they have the larger percentage of their customers that they are using. But now we want to put it in our own local ways, You know, the reason why so many business failed is because they did not acknowledge that we are not in Europe, we are in Africa, we are in Nigeria, we are in Lagos. So we need to put those local um, location into consideration. Else, the business might strive somewhere else, but might not strive where you are. You know, like in Nigeria, now saying that you want to start selling heaters. Okay, that part of my own civil engineering is how to install heaters in the house. You know, in Africa, we don't make use of heater in larger part of the Africa. What do you want to do with heater? Or you go to the Europe or to the US or maybe somewhere in Russia and you tell them that, okay, my occupation is how to fix AC, air conditions. Over there, they don't use air condition. The natural air condition itself, they are still trying to control it. Now talk of putting on air condition in the house. So there are some things that works in some parts of the world that does not work here. So which is the reason why we have all these training words classifier as types of classifier, pre-trained classifier provided by Microsoft and ready to use for custom category, offensive language, resume, source code. Okay, let me say offensive language. You have a school and you don't want students to start sending fuck you. Sorry to use that word. I just need to use so we can get what they are saying. Let's say fuck you, sex, um, all those adults contents. You don't want them to use it. So you can make use of that offensive language. Once they write it and click on send, they will just discover that I sent this thing, but this thing disappeared on my screen. At times, they will send it to Tungo to tell you what it is an offensive language. You will try to send it to Tungo to tell you it's offensive language. So they have the custom trainable classifier also. Organization train custom classifier to detect unique content based on real world examples. So I want to use something in African that is easier for us to use offensive language. Let me see the kind of offensive language that is common in Africa. Uh, let me imagine somebody wants to use that slang. No be gadus be this in an official environment. So we can actually flag it. If you try to say no be gadus be this, you send it to just tell you that it's an offensive language. So things like that, we can train them. I know some of us are just getting to know that these things are actually available in Microsoft, but important limitation, important limitation, important limitation. Okay, the use case is for auto labeling, um, I think retention policies, DLP, and communication compliance. But important limitation, all these things does not work on encrypted content. They don't work on encrypted what? Content. I want you to have that at the back of your mind. They don't work on encrypted content. Let's assume I write a letter in Microsoft Word and I encrypt it. I put a lot of sex and adult talk in it. Because it is encrypted, this will not apply to it because the purpose of encryption is so that nobody or no application or anything can do what can tamper with what I sent. Only the sender. That is the reason why we are encrypting it. So if any application should be able was able to open that file or that document, then that encryption is what is not working. It means the purpose have been what defeated. The purpose is actually what defeated. So which is the limitation of what this trainable classifier. I just want us to know it. So as I said, if you have any questions, at any given time, you can do what? You can ask. I think our time is fast spent. I will skip this part. Let me go to the next one. So create and manage custom sensitive information type. Don't forget that we are still under data what classification. Custom sensitive information type. So primary pattern, search for pattern for detection consisting of keywords or expressions, regular expression. The second one is additional evidence. That is second search pattern for higher matching accuracy of primary what pattern of what we have in number one and the what consistency of those keywords. Then the next one is character proximity, detection window in character of primary. Can you see it now? In addition to number one and number two. Then the last one, confidence level, supporting level of pattern and evidence matching accuracy. Evidence matching accuracy. I keep saying it. Assuming we are security conscious, like the way advanced countries are security conscious, a lot of people that have been doing will not be doing. Imagine somebody calling you from bank that, oh, I know you are using Access Bank, and I know that your account will be deactivated if you don't send us your BVN and NIN, and it has to be done today. It has to be done today. You did not ask, what is your name? Which branch? There are some confidential information you can ask that person also. Which branch of the bank you are working with? Who is your manager? And ask some other information. Somebody just come. It's like, how should I put it now? Okay, somebody just called you, somebody you've not met, somebody you don't know. Just, hello, my name is Olajide. Please, I need 100,000 now. It's urgent. Even if the person is dying, you will not care because in the first place, you don't even know who Olajide is. So the first thing you need to do is that person needs to identify what their self. You need to identify yourself. Is through that person identity that you now know if that person worth helping or not. So when it comes to fraudulent attitude also, you need to know the identity of if the person identity is something you doubt, then you don't need to transact with that person in the first place. I was giving somebody illustration this week that the reason why Dangote will not buy how which one should I use now? Maybe you have limestone. You have a limestone that they can actually use for their cement, and you have a land that has high quantity of limestone. The reason why Dangote might not want to transact with you is because you don't have anything to lose. That same land, if it belongs to, let's assume, Otedola, you see that if Otedola should meet Dangote today, I have a land that has limestone. You see the next day they will deploy engineers to that land to go and check, to do some findings and orders, because now the person is transacting with, he also has integrity, which means if anything happens, Otedola has something to lose. Dangote also do what? Has something to lose. That's why you see that top companies, like say like IBM, Apple, and others, they will not want to make use of free email service. They will not want to go to, like we say, google.com. Despite that Microsoft have free email service, no, they will prefer to go for the paid email service, and they will want to go for the top companies. They will not want to go for, is hardly you see top US company making use of Zoom or cPanel or any form of email. You see them, they go to Microsoft, AWS, I think Google and others. Why? Because if IBM as a company there is issue, IBM has something to lose. Microsoft do what? Have something to lose. Let me now imagine that I deploy a cPanel that has email service, and IBM now gave me the contract and there was a compromise on their email. You know that IBM has a lot to lose. Me, I don't have anything to lose. Even if IBM go and post it online that this is the person that that is providing us email services, what they just do for me is publication. People that don't know me before will start coming to do to meet me for email service. But if it was Microsoft, you see people that will start telling them, sue them, make sure this, make sure that, make sure this, because the two companies have something to lose. So what am I trying to say? If somebody is calling you and you're not sure of the person's identity, it's like somebody called you with your MD's phone number and you now said, send me your wife contact. Is your MD, you will never send your wife contact. But if your MD meets you in person and after discussion, maybe based on your discussion, and I said, send me your wife's contact. Because you meet him in person, you can do what? Easily send your wife's contact. So what am I saying? There's a confidence level for each of those information, and the sensitive information type will do what? Will make sure that it matches all those things, and the next thing is it will flag that data either not to go out of the organization or not to be shared. You know, even within the organization, there's some information that are not shared. It's like going to meet HR that I want to know how much is my colleague's salary. You know, those things are confidential information that cannot be what? They cannot be shared. I was even told in some countries, you can't go and ask anybody their marital status is an offense. They see it as an offense. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, if you meet an old friend, the first thing they will ask you is, you don't marry? You know, it's not an offense here. So let's go to the next one. We have just 8 minutes left. So we have keyword dictionaries. We'll be looking at those ones. You know, like some of Nigerian English. If you look at dictionary before now, there are some English that Nigerian English or African English that is not included in Oxford Dictionary. But these days, you see that a lot of let me use it, Nigerian English, which is Pidgin, Ghana English, other countries that speaks English, they are adding some of those words to dictionary. They are adding some of those words to dictionary. So if you check the dictionary, you see it there. So most of what we see, keywords that we work with are the things that they assume based on their own words level. There are some things over here that we will not have because most of them are not even proper English, but they need to be what? Flagged. They need to be flagged. So things like that, you can add them to your own dictionary. So the next part of it, sensitive label overview. Why sensitive label? Encrypt and mark content. Secure across platform. Protect non-Microsoft app. Manage container privacy. Enhance meetings and chat security. Leverage data intelligence. Apply virtual marking. Integrate with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Integrate with Microsoft 365 Copilot. I know most of us must have gotten a lot of documents for some company. At the back of that document, maybe Microsoft will see confidential, or some books. You get some books that we said they will write on it, not for sale, not for sale. So they are putting all this sensitive label on it to let you know that this thing is what is actually a confidential information, a confidential information that we should not lose. I think the class is getting boring because I'm trying to rush things up because of our time. So basic of sensitive labels. These are some of the things that I will be asking us tomorrow. By the time you are doing some hands-on, the hands-on might not even last an hour, then so we can continue with other things. Sensitive label are solutions to handle the life cycle of a company data with classify, encryption, access management in Microsoft 365. You can see we have it creating a document, apply a label manually that is internally, working internal, working external, and apply a new label, finishing the document, archive the documents with the retention. So sensitivity label just help us with everything that we should have, or your users, aside from the manual, there are automatic ones. There are some words. Once they add it to the subject of your email, automatically to mark that email as what? Confidential, or if they are part of the contents of your email, even if it is an attachment, inside that attachment that you have the information to mark that email as confidential automatically. Some those emails will not go directly. It will go to the admin first, or some it will go to your manager first. Your manager will receive it that you are trying to send a sensitive information outside the company or outside the department. Then your manager can review it first, then approve. Either the email should get delivered, or the email should do what? Should not go outside the organization. So foundation of sensitive label in Microsoft can be applied to, can you see, documents, emails, Microsoft Teams, group, SharePoint sites, OneDrive, calendar. You can see all what you have we are talking about. They are all what Microsoft 365 technology from start to beginning. So we can use sensitive information label for all of them. So benefits, data security, compliance, and controlled access. You can see compliance and controlled access, which are the benefit of the things that are needed. And lastly, on data classification, managing sensitive label in Office 365. You can see the requirements, edition of Office, and supported file types that we can actually use those things for. So we'll stop there for today. Then tomorrow, do a revision, do some hands-on based on what we've discussed this night. I'll just show you where we can find those things. We might create some of them just for you to see it, but for you to carry out the test and the hands-on, then you do that yourself. Then next weekend, we will start from there, because we still have data loss prevention, which is far, 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 far longer than any of the information protection subjects that we want to talk about, which is more broader than any of them. So I would like us to cooperate with me. Just try as much as you can. Play around. I told you, once you open Purview, you see data classification. Open it, create play around it. Then tomorrow we'll continue from there. So any question then before we call it a day? Any question? Any question before we call it a day? The material is not available yet. Please don't go and stress our organizer. Don't go and stress our mommy, Rafiah, or my oga Oyimafu. Start tagging them the group that they should drop the what is it called? The PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is not available till the last day of the class, and you are not allowed to put this PowerPoint online. And we are putting it online. Put it there. Put it there. You can see that most of them are what? Microsoft documents. They are Microsoft documents. If you want to make use of it at all, please and please and please, I'm saying it again. If you are going to get this PowerPoint at all, that is, we are going to get it at all, it should be at the end of this class, and don't post it on online. So thank you. Any information, any question or addition? Attendance have been shared since now.
Thank you, boss.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Any question?
Yes, I don't know if it's just part of what we are talking about. I don't have you need to data prevention and the information protection. I'm just asking, is there a way,
I can't.
is there a technology?
I can't hear you clearly. I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, hold on.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you loud and clear now, Michael.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, please. Can go ahead.
All right. So thank you so much for the class. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've learned so much. So I'm just trying to. I'm just thinking out loud, and I don't know if there's a technology for talking about data loss. Yes. Is there a way, or is there a technology that's I don't know how to put it. Okay, that can detect if data is being stolen or is being misused, like present, like a live, I don't know, like a live tracker or like a monitoring agent that can just kind of beep, okay, this alarm system whereby that like people install on their or in their cars. When you touch it, it starts beeping and all that. I don't know if you get my point.
Yes, I get your point, but you've not gotten there. There is a lot.
Oh, no.
So there are some set of people that will get the email.
Hey, yes.
Some set of people in the organization will get the email that, I mentioned it earlier, that there are some emails we are sending it will go to your boss directly. You receive the alert that you are sending a confidential information. Then it will ask them either to decline or to approve. Meanwhile, aside from that, there are some other informations while you are sending it. People in your organization, your admin, maybe your CTO and others will get the alert that maybe spam emails are being sent out of the organization or within the organization, or this person is trying to send out confidential emails out of the organization. We get there. We get there under DLP.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, boss. Any other information? Any other information? Yes, Mr. Abiodun is under insider risk also. Any other information? Lawrence, are you raising your hands?
I'm raising my hands, boss.
Okay, can go ahead, please.
And thanks for the class, right? So, actually, I just want to ask. I actually came late to the class, and I did not join the first class or something. So, is this class independent of the previous ones, or we have to go and continue? Going through the video before we can catch up with this. Because I have the videos, and I just want to start afresh. So, but then just want to confirm if I can just go on with this, then later delve into the other parts. That's all.
Well, it's actually left to you because I don't think there is need for gun in deserts. You just find people in deserts sitting down and you ask them what are they doing here. He said we are securing the desert. Securing the desert from what exactly? So what I'm trying to say is if you don't get every other part of the classes before now, then what do you want to secure? You need to understand how emails work, how SharePoint works, how Enter ID works, how the Power Apps and Power Automate, everything works. Then before you can now think of how to secure them. You get, if there is no country, then there is no need for military now. Or your house now, you can just wake up that, okay, mommy and daddy want to form soldiers in our house. We have barrack, we have this. People will ask you that, what are you securing? Which means you must have a state or a group of people that you are trying to secure. So if you have not been part of every other class before today,
No,
so
sir.
while
I think I should narrow it down, right? I've been
okay,
part of this class, like this
okay.
opening series, but this is your topic. I just joined not quite long, and I'm not really sure if this is where you started from or they have been.
That's why we have recordings now. You can go through the recording.
That is what I'm asking was not.
Yes, you can go through the recording. I think the recording will be available when you do. Then you can go, or you can go to the YouTube page, Microsoft 365 Nigeria. You see the recording there.
I actually asked, but I was not here last week either, so that was why. Yes. But I get now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, boss.
And thank you so much, Olajide, for your time. We really do appreciate the class that you've just taken. I think so far so good. Your class has been very well explanatory. No much questions. Sites that we look forward to the labs hands-on tomorrow. And yeah, if there's any other thing that's left, we'll definitely share that in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining the class today. Just like Lawrence, who is just joining the class for the first time, when the intermediate program has almost ended, it's not too late to invite the rest of your friends to join the class. We're going to make the recording available tomorrow for everyone. You can, if you joined in late, Lawrence, not to bother, you have the recording, and you can start off with this security class actually started today, right? So you've not really missed much. Thank you all once again for your time. How do you join the WhatsApp group? Okay, I'll share the link here now so you can join if you're not in the group yet. So that's the link to the WhatsApp group. You can join the WhatsApp group. So once again, thank you all for your time. Thank you, Olajide. We look forward to having you tomorrow, same time, same meeting link. Do have a good night rest, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Rafiah. Good night.
Yeah, you're
Thank
very
you.
much
Thank you so much.
welcome.
Thank you,
Sure,
Tasha.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Bye.